Hi, my tubies, my Teletubbies. Sheila True Love here with you today. I am a little hoarse today. I don't have a cold or whatever. But anyway, I wanted to talk to you today about people who are needy, and we're going to be hanging out with Coach Corey Wayne, who he helps to break it down, hopefully, so that it's more, people can understand it more. They can comprehend it a little bit better. And you know how I am, Sheila True Love. I always like he said, she said. I love those. Anyway, I was recently speaking to two people, and we were talking about love language, because there are like 5 different love languages. There is quality time. There is words of affirmation. There is touch. There is gifts, and there is acts of service. Now, my love language is, when it comes to my children or my family, it's quality time. How much time are you willing to spend with me? There's 168 hours in a week. And anytime you have family members, especially your children, who can't take out at least, 3 or 4 hours out of a week to spend with their parents, then there's something very wrong with that picture, as far as I'm concerned. That's children who don't appreciate their parents or don't value their parents. You take 168 hours in a week, you take out 4 hours out of that, you still have 164 hours to spend doing other things, or with your other family, or with your other friends. So I don't think that's a lot to ask per week. Now, if the person is married and have children and other responsibilities, we can understand that maybe it's not every week, but maybe once every 2 weeks, you could take out 3 or 4 hours. That's my love language when it comes to my family or my children. Now, when it comes to my man, my love language is gifts. And how much do they provide her? How much are they willing to spend? Because people work hard for their money. And anytime a man is willing to depart from his money, then that says a lot, at least to me. Now, when it comes to my friends, my love language when it comes to my friends is acts of service. If you need help, let's say moving, your friends are willing to pitch in and help with that. Or you may need help with something around the house, and your friends are willing to help out and chip in for that, or whatever. Acts of service. That's my love language. Now, I have 2 people who I was talking to, and their love language is words of affirmation. Now, I've done my research in terms of words of affirmation. It means praise, constantly praising, constantly validating someone, and that can really wear you out, because those are people who, to be honest with you, have very codependent personalities, and they have a lot of support groups that can help you to address that, along with therapy. Now, the 2 people that I know, they have allowed men to kill their self-esteem. Their self-esteem is shot, and they are very insecure. And the reason why they have become this way is because they have been mistreated by men. They have allowed men to determine their worth, or whether they constantly need some dude or people to blow smoke up their behind. I mean, they want you to praise them morning, noon, and night. And that is exhausting. Normally, people who have this love language, words of affirmation, they have been damaged. They have allowed, 9 times out of 10, the 2 people that I know of, they have allowed men to destroy them. I mean, they have little to no self-esteem. It's sad. It really is. So I've been trying to address this and help them to understand. But one thing also I realize about people whose love language is words of affirmation, the last thing they want to hear is the truth. They usually join organizations that don't want to hear other people's side of anything. They're not interested in anything that's true. They want people in their life, or they try to surround themselves with people that they can turn into their puppet. They want puppets. They don't want people. Anyway, without further ado, let's listen into Coach Corey, and he's going to help you hopefully a little bit more than I can. Maybe his way of saying it will clarify things.
And no matter how much he says I love you, he's constantly, why do you love
Wait, hold on.
It's
go.
like,
Here we go.
Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be needy people wear you out.
Yes.
Well, I got an email here today. This one is from a woman, and she's writing in about her boyfriend who suffers from depression. He's incredibly needy. He always needs validation. And no matter how much he says I love you, he's constantly, why do you love me? It's like just constant every day. It's like every 24 hours a clock resets, she says. And it's just wearing her out. She's tired of being the man in the relationship, but she doesn't want to hurt his feelings and tell him basically he needs to grow a set of balls and be a fucking man. Whoa. She wants to know what she can say to this guy that's nice and loving and not being an asshole, and get him to make the needed changes, because she's at the point where the relationship's not very satisfying and she's not getting anything out of it. She feels like, this guy's basically become an energy vampire.
Did you notice what he said? This person has become an energy vampire. And it gets to the point where when you're around people like that, you're constantly walking on eggshells. You're like on a landmine. You don't know what to say that's going to cause them to blow up. It's like walking on a tightrope constantly. How can you be comfortable with people like that? You know, it's exhausting. It's draining. It's pitiful. It's pathetic.
And so when you're a recovering needy person like I once used to be, or you're dating a needy person, it's like, this is what I liked about this email, is you can really see what an extreme case of a needy person does and says. And so you can see from the woman's perspective how behaving that way is turning her off. So I have a quote that I wrote, and I'm going to go through her email. And the quote says, needy and insecure people do not think very highly of themselves. This causes them to force their interactions with other people, seek approval, seek validation from others, try too hard, and generally be overbearing and obnoxious. To the needy person, no amount of validation or love from other people is ever enough to satisfy their insatiable appetite for positive encouragement and validation.
Need I say more? Did I not say that clearly? Their appetite is insatiable. It's like having a cup and it has the bottom cut out of it, and you keep pouring stuff into it, but it keeps falling. It never fills up. It's never enough with these people.
Needy people usually did not get enough strokes as a kid and never really felt loved by their parents or family. That was definitely my family. They never hugged us. And when we were real little, maybe, but once we got older, old enough to walk around, never heard the words "I love you" from anybody in my family. That was just completely foreign to me.
See, I can understand where he's coming from, where he may need something like that. But when it comes to my family or my son and my daughter, I don't think they should ever feel that way, because I was constantly kissing sugar on them, kissy, huggy, huggy. If they would allow me, if anything, my daughter was the one who was very distant and cold. She was the one who, the more I tried to hug her up and love her up, she was the one who was very distant and cold. And she tends to be like that unless it's a man. But that's a whole nother story. When it comes to my son and with my daughter, I raised them with nothing but praise. And I have friends who could not validate, but who could back me up on that. With my son, are you kidding me? You can go on my channel and look at several of my videos where I'm doing nothing but praising my son. When I have a list, when I make a list of men who I admire, who I look up to, and who I think deserve praise, he's at the top of the list. And sometimes it seems, sometimes it's just not enough. What can I tell you? So this may have happened to some people in their childhood where they didn't get the amount of praise, but my family could never, ever accuse me of that.
And when you grow up in an environment like that, and you just get the crap beat out of you when you do something wrong, and other than that, you're pretty much ignored or you're verbally put down, you can't help but think that you're not worthy and you're not good enough. And so you grow up and you're an adult, you're looking for the affection and the love that you never got from your parents, and you don't even realize that you're doing it. So the quote continues on.
So now, when it comes to people who also lacked fathers, you have a lot of women and sometimes guys as well who, regardless of how much validation a woman will give them, it means nothing. It means nothing. They have to have this constant validation coming from a man because of not having a father to constantly validate them. You're great, you're good, you're great enough, bravo, what have you. Um, I know the importance of having a father in the home. I do understand that. At the same time, I think it's more important to have a healthy parents, good parents in the home, because you have a lot of homes that have fathers in them, and it's horrible. Just check out Soft White Underbelly when you get a chance, and check out AML Films and listen to these people's stories. And a lot of these people came from great homes where they had the father and the mom. And look at how these people turned out. They had parents that was probably praising them and validating them every day. And you had some of them said that I was spoiled rotten. My parents get everything for me. And yet they're heroin addicts. They're on crack and crystal meth and smoking weed and dope. Weed, I call weed dope. That's what they say in the pamphlets. Smoking dope every day. And a lot of these people I notice in the world today, they're seeking male approval. Forget about your mom. Forget about your sister or your aunties or the females. All they care about is male approval. And that's something I can't do. So,
When they become adults, they become unconsciously driven to seek the love they never got from their parents, from other people. When a person becomes emotionally conditioned to think a certain way or expect that they won't be loved, this unhealthy baseline model of the world clouds every human interaction in a negative and often destructive way. People should focus on their own internal happiness, meeting their own needs, and being grateful for what they have first. And once they have achieved this state of inner peace, only then can they love in a healthy way by giving, instead of seeking happiness, validation, and approval from others in order to feel good about themselves. And that's what you're going to see when I go through this email, is that's the guy is constantly, he didn't get enough strokes as a kid, so he's basically treating his girlfriend like his mommy, and she's fucking tired of it.
So like I said, you have certain people who didn't get enough strokes from their father, so they're constantly seeking this validation, and it's got to be from a man, a man, a man, a man. So as a mom, as a woman, I feel like, what's the point? What's the point?
She's a real trooper because she's put up with this, because most women would never put up with dating a guy like this. So she says, "Hello, Corey. I've seen some of your videos and I'm looking for some advice. My boyfriend suffers from severe depression." Well, I mean, at the end of the day, that's not your problem. That's his problem. That's his issue. You can love him, but at the end of the day, it's not your job to fix him. It's not your job to save him. The whole purpose of a relationship is you go there to give. You're there to help each other grow and become more and to meet each other's needs. But when you're dating somebody like this, who's basically coming to the relationship and he already feels like the glass is half empty, if you will, he's showing up looking to get something from you that he feels he's lacking within himself. So already he's in a deficit. It's like being a rich person and dating somebody that's broke and terrible with money. That person is at the end of the day, it's going to cost you money to be around them or to date them because they just can't handle paying their bills. Whether it's like they tell you they're going to take you out and they go to swipe their credit card and then it comes back declined and then you end up paying. I mean, shit gets old. And so when you deal with a needy person, if you're happy, whole, and complete, and you're ready to share your completeness, and you got somebody like this who shows up and they feel like they're not whole and not complete, and they're missing something, and they're looking towards you to give them what they're missing, it's a bad way to go. He's very needy, often needing me to remind him of how important he is to me or how much I love him.
Constantly, that's fine and good. Maybe you do that maybe once a month. Let them know how much you praise. You're doing a really good job. You're very important to me because without you, I can't imagine being happy. You really contribute a great deal to my happiness. You know, but constantly, like he said, like every 24 hours, every 2 days, every 3 days. Yeah, sure. Now, I was reading one of the replies here, and this person says, it says, goodness gracious. This person says, goodness gracious. I just recently had to end my 10-month relationship because of her insecurities. These exact things that this girl's boyfriend was doing was how mine was. Constantly asking me things like, why do you want to be with me? And when we argue, she'd blow things out of proportion. She would flip my words around, cry, and say things like, go be with someone else. And all of this unworthy crying and low confidence, it's depressed the hell out of me. He said, depressed BS and making me feel like I was the bad guy for speaking out my feelings. That's another thing you'll notice about people who are overly needy. They want to be able to talk about how they feel about things, but don't you dare talk about how you feel. They're going to take your words, blow them out of proportion, take offense to things that it's not even meant to be offensive. They're going to see things totally the wrong way. You're trying to give them constructive advice, or don't even use the word criticism. Please don't do that. Don't do it. So you try to give them something constructive. They're going to take it to the left field somewhere, child, please. And then their favorite word, let me tell you, is boundaries and accountability. Those are their two favorite words. Boundaries and accountability. Now, let me tell you what a needy person's boundaries is. Their boundaries is, 1, you're not allowed to disagree with me. 2, don't you dare ever speak the truth about anything. What is it? 3, praise me morning, afternoon, and the evening. And if you're not doing that, then you are crossing my boundaries. And because I brought it to your attention and you don't accept that, you're not taking accountability for your behavior. Go figure. Now tell me these people don't need to be in therapy. They don't need to find themselves a support group, which is usually a codependency support group. They need help. Somewhere along the way, they have allowed someone or people come along and cause them not to see their own worth, their own value. I'm just so grateful to Jesus Christ, my Lord and my Savior, that, I used to be insecure and shy type of girl, whatever, but I grew out of all of that when I got my first divorce. When I divorced my husband, the first one, low self-esteem, whatever kind, my self-esteem went up to the roof, okay? I know my worth. I'm not going to let anyone treat me poorly. I'm not going to put up with that. You're not going to cheat on me. Let me tell you my deal breakers. Cheating, I got my deal breakers. Hold on a moment. Okay, I have them written down because I always like to make notes of everything because with this world, the way it goes, it's just crazy. You got to keep, the memory and getting up there in age. Anyway, my deal breakers, things that I cannot tolerate. and these are my boundaries. I will not tolerate people who are on Satan's team. Anyone who refuses to follow Jesus Christ's teachings, you're not willing to have a Bible study, you're not willing to go to church at least every Sunday, or Sunday, maybe you might skip some Sundays, or we could even do church right here in the house. Because Jesus Christ said, wherever there's two or more, I am in your midst. So we go on YouTube, and we may listen to Charles Stanley, a sermon from him. We may listen to Joyce Meyer's ministries. We may listen to Carlos de Jesus. We may listen to Priscilla Shire. We may listen to Robert R.C. Blake. These are the ones who I really get a lot of my spiritual food from. There are some things, that's where I basically get my spiritual food from. That, and I study the Bible. I like to study the Bible. You read a chapter and then you get questions from that chapter and you answer the questions. So you have a Bible study. I also have Bible cards that I like, Bible cards with Bible questions, and you flip it and got the answer. Whatever I didn't know, I study it and I do the research. So before you know it, I'm very proficient with my Bible. Just from studying the Bible, not books, not magazines, not tracts, just the Bible. My second deal breaker is cheating. I'm not putting up with that ever. When I was younger and I had my first child, my husband cheated on me, I was pregnant and I already had a kid, I forgave him once. He did it again, I was done with that. And going forward, you don't get a second chance with Sheila True Love. You cheat on me once, deal breaker. Number 3, liars. Someone who is a pathological liar. You know why? Because I can't trust anything they say when going forward. You can't trust them. And I'd rather take a hard truth. I'd rather take a hard truth than an easy lie. But when you're dealing with people who are needy, they rather take an easy lie than the hard truth. And that's pathetic. I can't deal with that. My 4th deal breaker is any type of abuse. Any type of abuse, whether it's physical or emotional. You can't abuse me mentally. Good luck trying that one. Nobody can abuse me mentally. At least the people that I've run into, they can't outthink me, nor can they outsmart me. So good luck with that. But when it comes to emotional abuse or physical abuse, deal breaker. Lastly, if you're using drugs, I can't be bothered with that either. If I ever find out that you're using drugs, any type of drugs, I don't want to have nothing to do with that. No, I'm not into that. No. I don't want cigarette smokers either, to be honest. But, the deal breaker is the drugs, any type of abuse, liars, cheating, and anyone who's insistent on staying on Satan the devil's team. That ain't going to work for me because stress kills. Not only does stress kill, but it accelerates aging. And I'm not trying to look old for anybody sooner than I have to. Okay? So anyway, I just wanted to make this brief video with you. As you see, I'm getting ready to relax and retire. I got my hair in my rollers, some of my rollers to flatten it up or whatever the hell. And people who are needy and whose love language is words of affirmation, they really need to take time to get the necessary help that they need, which I would recommend therapy, and for them to find a support group, because therapy alone does not work if you don't have a support group, and at least get yourself maybe 1 or 2 sponsors so you can have someone to talk to, someone you could, I don't know, go to the movies with from time to time, dinner, whatever, activity, whatever. So, I just had to make a quick video regarding that. I'll be making other videos, which I'm getting ready to make another one regarding the Jehovah's Witnesses. I've got some things that I want to share with that. Because that's like a whatever. This is Sheila True Love, truly loving you, my darlings, and thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and to subscribe. And I will see you on the other side. Good night.